I think that's a big thing as well. A lot of what we think is the anarchist movement is something else, except it's using anarchism as a label of convenience.
I mean, what passes as the green anarchist movement to me seems barely distinguishable from the sort of toffs of the Tory party and the Zach Goldsmiths, and the climate camp seems a sort of a blind alley where lots of anarchists are rushing down, and very soon, within a couple of years, you can see them being co-opted into the Tory party.
Yes, it's all very like noble and everything like that, along with third worldism. But I think we should be interested in ecology, but ecology for me is a quality of life, being able to afford food, to have a decent roof over your head, to have a decent standard of living, not to breathe in crap when you're walking around, to be able to work without sort of suffering illness for it and so on, for having a good feeling, a good mentality, well-being and so on. That's what ecology is to me. It's the ecology, the standards, the everyday life. That's what ecology is to me, not sort of stopping the proles from jetting off to cheap holidays or driving bangers. That's not what it's about.
You're doing a talk at the Anarchist Book Fair on October the 18th. What's the title of the talk?
The title of the talk, as far as I remember, is juxtaposition of Bougainville, Bogota, Bolivia, or Blackburn, Bermondsey, and Bolton, or something like that anyway.
That's pretty good.
Counterposing, saying like that the activists, the anarchists, a lot of them are more concerned with what's going on thousands of miles away than they are here in their own backyard. And I actually think that, laudable though it is to show solidarity with people in struggle abroad, that we should be struggling here, and anything that we do here has great repercussions abroad. If we could pull off an insurrection or a revolutionary, or even create a revolutionary situation or be part of a revolutionary situation here, that does more for the people in Bolivia and Venezuela or anywhere than us standing outside the embassy or like having film shows about struggles in places thousands of miles away.
Why do you think it is that so many anarchists are keen to show solidarity with people thousands of miles away, who don't even talk to their neighbours on the estates where they live? It seems a peculiar sort of vision of...
It's part of the lifestyle thing, isn't it? It's safe, isn't it? It's safe to support sort of armed struggle 2 or 3 or 4 or 5,000 miles away. Very safe indeed. But it's not so safe, is it? Like, you know, to talk about your ideas at work or to your neighbours, or like even to organise on your estate or at work. Oh, that's not very safe at all. I think it's safe, and it's also part of a scene, isn't it? Our scene is dominated, as I say, by liberals who care more about the people suffering thousands of miles away than they do like the millions of people here that live in poverty, have completely alienated, have got absolutely no stake in the society at all.
And what do you think of some of the people they show solidarity with? We're looking at some of the people in South America around Chavez, and there's been solidarity with Cuba, the Zapatistas, even the Sandinistas. What's your take on that?
Well, these basically are lefty movements which always sell out the people, which play power politics, which in the end all these governments will always send out tanks and troops against their own people. They all have prisons where they lock up their own people. When the people themselves break out of the straitjacket of whatever it is the government wishes them to conform to, the government will crush them or attempt to crush them and repress them, as it always does, because that's what governments do.
There's always been sort of supporters of, inverted commas, armed struggle in the anarchist movement in this country, although their support for armed struggle seems to be in inverse relation to anything they actually do. I mean, what do you make of people who sort of eulogise everything from Bard and Meinhof to...
Well, I regard them the same way as the liberals, actually. I don't, you know, this ain't taking up guns and bombs and so on. It's just fantasy wanking off. I mean, we haven't even got the movement. We haven't even had the social background that produced the Red Brigades and the Baader Meinhofs and so on. You know, we haven't, we haven't got that insurrectionary sort of violent student confrontation with the state type thing that these things arose out of. So no, to me, it's just another wank. I mean, to put it quite bluntly, you know, we are in the age, or should be in the age, of the brick, the petrol bomb, the bottle, and the iron bar, not the barricade, the car on fire, not like sort of bombings and machine gunnings and so on. I believe in mass violence, mass action, not sort of elitist stuff, letting off bombs and so on. I mean, if you let off a bomb, people think you're an Islamic terrorist or an Irish Republican or something like that, or even like a Nazi bomber or something like that.
What do you think about, going back to some of the earlier stuff about anarchism as such? It's a question of, do you believe in anarchism? Do you think anarchism is still a viable political idea?
Yes, you see, I look upon anarchism in two ways. First of all, I look upon anarchism as a historic working class movement, revolutionary, insurrectionist, but also not only that, but anti-authoritarian, quite interested in building up alternatives, avant-garde type things, art movements, and so on. It's a lot of things, but basically, I do see it as a revolutionary idea, and also I believe that in the whole of humanity, in the entire existence of civilization, that there's always been what you might call anarchist currents. You can look at them right through anywhere, right through the Spartacus rebellion, the slaves uprising against the Romans, probably even before that. Rebellions, revolutions that we know nothing about that happened in ancient Egypt or in ancient China and so on, civilizations that have long ceased to be. Also, you've got to remember, as I say, right through to the present day, if you look at the English Revolution, you've got the ranters, the diggers, the fifth monarchists, some of the more extreme levellers, quite approached anarchism in a way. There is always an indigenous, whatever country, whatever society, there's always an indigenous flow of anarchism. Sometimes there's a little stream, sometimes it's a great roaring river.
There seems to be, in English history, a sort of mob tradition of which class war and people like ourselves are part of, going back to the Gordon riots, the Chartists and Captain Swing and peasants and this rick burners. Is that part of the noble working class tradition you see yourself as part of?
Yes, I do. I mean, I live near the Tower of London, and it's very good to know that, like in 1381, that the peasants actually, during the Peasants' Revolt, that they actually managed to storm the Tower of London, drag out the Archbishop of Canterbury and the Chancery Exchequer, and execute them for burdening the population with the poll tax. So yeah, I see myself like as part of that, and I don't only see myself as part of that. I think that it's in everybody's DNA, really, or everybody that's working class, that is.
I know you're one of the great readers of books I've ever come across, Martin. Have you read anything of late which we ought to be reading?
I can't really think of anything. I tell you, I'm not too fond of Chomsky, to tell you the truth. I find it very sleep-inducing. It's a great cure for insomnia. But I actually like the American writer Mike Davis. Although he's not an anarchist and he calls himself a socialist, he writes a lot about anarchism, and he has a very good understanding of class. If you want to look at the modern America, particularly California and the urban metropolises there, and anarchism, socialism, insurrection, read his books. They're very good. I would highly recommend it. I find it that it's very bad. Where are our Mike Davises? Where are our Chomskys even in this country?
One of the things that gets me often is that people just see anarchists as very one-dimensional, as if the only thing they had going on in their lives was an interest in anarchism. But I know you're a great traveller, and you've travelled throughout vast tracts of the world. Is there anywhere you got your eyes set on now you haven't been before?
Not really. I just like to see the world, but I haven't even seen a lot of this country, and I'd like to visit some more of this country just to see it.
To finish off now, we've got a couple of minutes left. If you could if you seized power in an anarchist collective and you're addressing the nation for the next minute, what would you say to them, Martin?
I'd say something like, great, I've waited years for this, get on with it, and do more, and keep doing it, and don't stop. That's what I'd say, nothing else.
You've just been listening to a broadcast on behalf of the Committee of Public Safety by Brigadier Martin Wright. We have seized power, remain calm, stay in your homes. OK, Martin, that was great. Thanks a lot for that. That was the fifth in a series of interviews on anarchism in the UK. I'll be back next week talking to Tony, the organiser of the Anarchist Book Fair.